Oh, baby, Brandon D. Adam. We're going to shine today because it's week 13. And guess what, Brandon? We got 2 weeks left until the playoffs. So this is do or die. And listen, I would say this is almost like a free square week. Last week, of course, because it was Thanksgiving, there was no teams on bye. This week, there's only 2 teams on bye. They got the Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. Panthers, it's kind of like, who cares? Cardinals, obviously, there's Kyler. There's a few notable players. But for the most part, it's a wide open slate. So talking about our flex plays today, Brandon, we got some good ones. Yeah. And you know what? You know why this is my favorite time of year, Brandon?
Why?
Because not only are we entering the Christmas season, I like to get into the Christmas spirit. It's fun. But this is also crunch time in fantasy football, right? It's crunch time because it's really much post after Thanksgiving. It's do or die time in your fantasy leagues. You're either in it, fighting for a spot, or it's DFS time, which DFSArmy.com, really good website. Go check it out. Our VIPs. We had a second place finisher in the Millie Maker this week, Brandon. $150,000. So our members are just cashing it in right now. So
I couldn't imagine doing that. That sweat must have been brutal.
Oh my God. Honestly, like, dude, in my fantasy football leagues, like, I couldn't watch, like, there's games on Sunday night. Like, I had Jalen Hurts going last week. I couldn't watch the game. I just couldn't do it. I ended up losing by a point, which killed me. But like, it's at the point now where I just get so upset that I can't do it. So DFS, man, like, it's a different sort of constitution. But Brandon, man, I haven't had you on the show. How you doing? How you feeling?
I feel good. I've been back. Sorry, man. I went out to LA, played some hockey, and then I, unfortunately, on the flight home, brought back some nasty stuff and got sick and got the whole family sick. We had to cancel Thanksgiving. Ended up being cool. Yeah, it was bad. It sucks, but we did pretty deep. We got second place in our tournament. We lost in overtime, 6-6 overtime. In a shootout. We lost in the shootout. But your boy turned it on towards the end of the game. We were down, scored to tie it up at 5. And then 2 minutes late, with 2 minutes left, got the I thought the game clinching assist to my homie Declan, and then 30 seconds later, heartbreak. You know, that's just how hockey is, and you know, one that squeaked through, man.
So for our listeners that don't know, Brandon's actually, he plays competitive. It's sledge hockey officially, right?
Yeah, sled hockey. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sledge. You can say both.
Sledge. You know, it's funny. So like, you play competitive hockey. Our guy Flex Matt, who used to be with a Flex Network show, he used to do competitive MMA fighting, and then Mike just has like quads of steel and does like lifting. I'm just some dude behind a microphone, man. I got nothing behind me, but you guys are representing on the athletic side. But listen, let's represent for our people, because it is still a critical week. We have some really important flex decisions. And Brandon, give me your number one flex play on the week. Locked, loaded, stamped by Brandon D. Adam.
It's the dog, the return of the dog. The George Pickens is returning to Atlanta, and he is going to go off back in where he used to go to college, and with University of Georgia. He's going to be matched up against AJ Terrell, which is he's a number 46 coverage rating in by Pro Player Profiler, and I feel like this guy is just coming on hot. And with Deontay Johnson not being who he usually is, this team is looking for somebody to take that number one role and take on that, you know, that game-changing role. And I think this guy, George Pickens, is a complete alien. And I think he might come down. If you take a peek at his schedule coming down the rest of the season, man, he's going to have himself a Amon-Ra type end of the year heading into next year. So he's going to be coming in hot. And I feel like in Georgia, he's going to prove something, that he was a stud. He's a superstar. He really is. And honestly, the Atlanta Falcons are terrible at defending the wide receiver ones of teams. They've actually given up 14 top 24 wide receiver performances this year. They just can't stop anybody. So George Pickens is a guy that is starting to see a little bit more volume. He's getting around 6 targets per game in the last month. I could see him getting a little bit more since it's a little bit of home cooking. Mike Tomlin might throw a few more his way. So I feel like he's going to get in the box this week, and he's going to get around 80 to 100 yards. I just feel like he's gonna make big time plays this week.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. So when we were chatting about your plays before the show started here, just the fact that Deontay Johnson is a very good wide receiver who has yet ladies and gentlemen, shocking stat of the season. Deontay Johnson has not scored a touchdown yet this season. Now, he was very close on a number of occasions, including last week, but he hasn't been able to get in the box. And we've seen with Kenny Pickett that he's honing in on George Pickens, which, I mean, listen, Pickens is a monster. There's a reason they got rid of Chase Claypool. Pickens is the real deal. I still find it interesting that, like, Deontay Johnson on the season still has a 24% target share. Even last week, where he didn't do much, he still had a 25% target share. So when you look at the numbers, the peripherals, it looks like Deontay should be good, but he's not. And then it's just those explosive plays that George Pickens can have. And then he just got this nose for the end zone. And I love that the comeback narrative, going back to Atlanta, going back to Georgia. It's going to be just it's cool. Obviously, Georgia won the national championship last year. George Pickens played in that game. He didn't do much because he was still recovering from I believe it was an ACL injury that he suffered the previous year in college. But man, I love George Pickens as a player. I love him this week going up against Atlanta. I like the fact that it's going to be a high-scoring game. It should be a high-scoring game. And
somewhat.
Listen, I'll eat my words a little bit here, Brandon. I was not big on Kenny Pickett. I thought he'd be an okay middling level quarterback. I know you were high on him. I know Mike was high on him. I was the only guy who was a little bit reluctant to go all in on him. But it seems like he's growing. You know, he's getting those tough reps. He's getting those growing pains. And it's one of the reasons why, like, having a player like Trey Lance sit for an entire season, you have to get the real in-game action to really improve. And we're starting to see with Kenny Pickett. So I love George Pickens. I think he's a super reliable play. I got a question for you. If you got Deontay Johnson in your season-long leagues or even in DFS, can you even play him at this point? Like, obviously it's all about what your options are, but is he playable?
Honestly, I have him in a couple leagues. I'm sitting him in one and starting him in the other because I have to. I have zero confidence that he's going to actually get in the box. But you know, at some point he's got to break through. Like, he has to break through. He's too talented. We both know he's a talented guy. He has all the routes in the route tree that you need to be successful NFL wide receiver, and he's done it before. Like, it's just that it doesn't make any sense what's happening right now. And I just feel like Kenny Pickett just feels comfortable with Pickens, and he's just locking in on Pickens a little bit. And I don't know. We'll see. I think with the return back to Georgia, he's going to be the number one target this week. But who knows? Like, with everybody thinking Pickens, it might be Deontay. Who knows? Like, but that's how it is. But it's all about options, baby. It's all about options, and you know,
you've heard that
I can't
Chris
yell
Rock
at you
skit, right?
Yeah,
you've heard that Chris Rock skit, right?
Which one?
Man's loyalty is all about his options. You know?
It is true.
Go check it out. Okay, I got a question from. So he's saying it's totally. I'm assuming it's he, possibly she. Totally not the FBI. Which that sounds like a very FBI thing to say. You're not the FBI, but you really are. So.
They're following me. They're following me, dude. They're checking in on me, dude.
They're watching the controversial Brandon Adam, brother. All right, so you haven't needed help all season. So not the FBI. They've already started Ramondre Stevenson, okay? So they have to decide on two. Saquon, 100% you're starting Saquon always, right? So then it's a question between Travis Etienne, Zonovan Knight, Christian Watson, and Kyron Williams. So of this set, it's got to be Etienne if he plays. Look,
dude.
Bam Knight did very, very well last week. Michael Carter is doubtful, so he's not going to play. But it's still a pretty tough matchup going up against Minnesota.
Did you see what Mike White was wearing at his presser this week?
No.
He was wearing a Ty Johnson t-shirt this week at his presser.
And the people forget, like, James Robinson was a healthy scratch last week. And
that's crazy.
When James Robinson's played, he's looked good, right?
Right.
Like he's not Gus, so I don't
I
understand.
think
why he was
I think it's attitude. I think it's dude. I'm telling you, Robert Saleh does not give a shit. If you come in there with any kind of attitude to mess up with the culture, he will make you pay. Like he is that kind of coach where he doesn't give a shit about your talent. Like he wants you to be in line and be a part of the team. And James Robinson was definitely vocal about not playing. So that's why he got the healthy scratch. And another shot across the bow by the coach, man. This guy has no fucks given about players think.
So here's the thing that's interesting to me, and we're going on a total tangent. Let's just answer this question first. So it's Saquon and it's Etienne if you play, right? Like for sure, right? Now, Etienne. If Etienne doesn't play by some miracle because they're playing games in Jacksonville, then my next option would be Christian Watson. Is who I would start. Kyren Williams, man, I'm not starting any Ram. Hell no. Maybe, although one of my tight end streamers, if you have the balls, guts to do it, is Tyler Higbee this week. But yeah, man, I'm starting Etienne after Saquon, and then if Etienne doesn't go by some miracle, I'm starting Christian Watson. Good luck. Let us know how you do because you know
Pedersen said he's good. Pedersen said he's good to go. Like he's not worried about him at all.
Yeah, exactly. But just going back to the Jets, okay? So Zach Wilson obviously was benched last week. We all agree that it was probably an attitude type thing. The kid needs to grow up a little bit. He's only had 2 losses on the season. Isn't that shocking? He's 5-2 is his record on the season, and both of his losses were against the Patriots. Now the Patriots don't look good, but they have this ability to hone in on certain teams, and I mean Zach's not a rookie, but he's basically a rookie. Right?
He's a rookie.
A lot of last season.
Yeah,
Mike White's the dog, man.
Mike White is so good to not give this job up, dude.
Do you think he's keeping it? Like period
for the rest of the year? Absolutely, absolutely, dude.
The Jets are going to be in a position to draft a quarterback next year.
Dude, I'm telling you what, like the Jets could pull some kind of trade out where they get rid of Wilson in the draft, and I feel like Zach Wilson is just not taking any step progressing. Like he really isn't. And I liked his talent. I'll admit it 100%. Like he has all the talent in the world, the arm talent. He can throw from different platforms. It's just like he can do like the wow stuff, but he can't do the mundane consistency throws. He can't make those consistency throws. And that is, to me, that comes down to just pure mechanics and just being lazy. And it feels like this kid has been given everything in his life to succeed. He's like always been given everything and he just hasn't earned it. And I think that's what Robert Saleh is doing to him right now is he's trying to treat him like, like you got to earn your way, man. Like you can't just come in here and throw picks every freaking game and keep playing.
Yeah. I hope for Zach Wilson's sake, he learns from his opportunity because it really is an opportunity, right? And that he does develop because he has the raw talent to be good. He just needs to put his mindset into it. But this is a really interesting thing. So again, going back to this, he was commenting the fact that he's been overthinking it and he's looking more of a GPP type mindset versus a season long. It's so easy to get into that trap, right? Where, especially if you play both DFS and a season long game, where you're like, okay, well, this guy has massive upside. Oh, it's very, very sneaky. But then it's like, you got to get back to basics. And I generally, because we play in a lot of leagues, right, Brandon? You could just toil over a lot of these start sit questions. Generally speaking, you want to play your studs. You play your stud, you play your studs. Sometimes the matchup doesn't look great. You play your stud. When you overthink it, sometimes you're going to be right, but it tends to be like a 10 to 15% success rate, right? When you're doing this, like don't overthink it, play your studs. And I get it's different when your stud's injured. Like that's when it really becomes challenging and Etienne is injured. But it sounds like, I mean, again, the narrative was he could have come back in the game last week. He was cleared. I like the fact that they were, I mean, it actually lost me a matchup, but I like the fact that they were careful with him because it was the foot. Originally, they said it wasn't the same foot, but then they came out and said Peterson said it was the same foot. So I'm glad that they did it, but don't overthink things, man. Like if he's in, if he's healthy, they were careful last week. So why would they not be careful this week?
Think about it. I mean, if you're going back and forth about matchups and studs or sleepers, who are you willing to go down with the ship? Like that right now, every
Yeah.
win counts to get into the playoffs. And who are you willing to go sit through the summer and be like, man, I can't believe I freaking started Kyron Williams over Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Like, I will not be that guy. Like, I will play Etienne. Like, that's just how I am. And I'm willing to do it.
Spoiler alert, Brandon.
What?
Kyron Williams isn't that good. He's okay. He's fine.
You think?
He's not that good. Okay, I'm going to go with one more question here. Mark, we're going to get your question after this, but we're going to go Bali. I'm going to get my flex play. Then we're going to come back to some of these questions. But a flex question from our guy, Bali. Swift, Zay Jones, he's got the rib injury, and Donovan Knight. He's starting Jamal Williams. Of course, you have to start Jamal Williams. This one's tough for me, man, but I'm probably going to lean – because you're starting Jamal Williams already, I'm probably going to lean Zay Jones here. He had a career game yesterday or last week, excuse me. You're okay, Brandon, who would you start here? It's a tough question. This one's tough.
This is the first week. Swift has no injury designation. I don't know. Like they have a role where he gets a lot of pass work and if it's a PPR league, PPR machine, I go Swift. That guy is too talented, man. He's got to break out sooner or later here. And the guy's too talented.
Just the fact that he's starting Jamal Williams for sure, which I agree with.
I get you.
Yeah,
I get it. I go full blown. I've done it. I've done it myself where I've started both of them. And
it's just to add something with the whole Zay Jones thing is that obviously like Christian Kirk, he's going to be fed, right? Another shocking stat of the season. Christian Kirk is the number 10 wide receiver. He's being drafted as a wide receiver 40. He's number 10. So, I mean,
follow the money
in PPR, follow the money. And then you were saying Marvin Jones, man, like,
yes,
he's going back against Detroit. He's got this little revenge narrative. He's being phased out of the game because Zay is starting to step up, but maybe they try to give a little bit of love to Marvin Jones, which takes a little bit away the luster from Zay. Again, this might be the definition of overthinking it, but I'm probably, because I kind of want to see it first with Swift, I'm probably leaning Zay.
I hear you.
The ribs worry me a lot. You're leaning Swift. So both those guys probably over Zonovan Knight. So, brother, we got to talk about one of my favorite.
Let's please.
The week, because it's another rookie. He was drafted by those New York Jets, playing with the stud himself, Mike White. But I love Garrett Wilson this week going up against Minnesota.
Yes, sir.
And okay, so the game as a whole, it has a 44-point over-under. Okay, Mr. Garrett Wilson has a 22% market share on the season, but last week with White, he had 25%, which means we know that White is going to target Garrett Wilson. Yes, Elijah Moore had a breakout last week.
Yes,
I talked about him.
It's not his fault.
I know, but I talked a lot about him on the waiver show this week. Love Elijah Moore. He still only had 2 targets. He got 2 for 2, got the touchdown. Garrett Wilson's that dog, okay? Michael Carter is injured. That's how you beat the Minnesota Vikings, Brandon. It's
through the air.
The damn air, okay? Minnesota is the stone worst team through the air in terms of PPR points to wide receivers, okay? And then when you look at that differential, 76% of the production, Brandon, goes to the outside wide receiver, which is exactly where Mr. Garrett Wilson likes to play. Now, here's a little crux to this whole narrative, right? For these players to really get a shootout, typically what you want is a high-scoring game, right? Minnesota, they can do it down on the ground with Dalvin Cook. They can do it through the air with Justin Jefferson. But the Jets are actually the worst matchup through the air in terms of PPR points to the wide receiver. So the question is, can they break through? Mr. Sauce Gardner's a stud, man.
Dude.
And guess what? Here's the thing. What did we talk about earlier? So you start your studs. Justin Jefferson, doesn't matter who he matches up against.
Doesn't matter.
He's going to be able to produce. So I like the fact this could be this is a game where I would actually like the over because Minnesota can put up points and the Jets can put up points. And listen, typically we generally defer to the defense when it's a studly defense versus a studly offense. But when it's Justin Jefferson, I think he's going to be able to put up points. And guess what? Patrick Peterson, who is likely going to be the one covering Garrett Wilson, he's actually like the 29th ranked cornerback in the league right now, which is actually respectable. It's better than what he was in the previous years. He's been in the media this week talking shit about Kyler. But
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that kind of bugs me. That rubs me the wrong way. But Patrick Peterson ain't the same dog that he used to be. He's still got that name brand.
Exactly.
Garrett Wilson is gonna have a fucking game, baby.
Yeah, he's going to have 10 targets and go absolutely nuclear. I 100% agree with you. I feel a big game coming in for Garrett Wilson. I'm 100% there with you. I actually was looking at him for a flex play. I'm glad you said it too.
Yeah,
because he deserves
baby.
recognition. With Mike White, dude, like Mike White has it in him to just feed it to Wilson. He'll fit balls in there that shouldn't be thrown, but he has faith that his guys are going to go get it. Zach Wilson won't pull the trigger unless it's absolutely open. That's what Mike White has over Zach Wilson. Mike White he understands what NFL open is, and Zach Wilson does not. Zach Wilson's used to that Brigham Young Pac-12 open. And like it's just where they got like 5 yards of separation and he can throw it wherever he wants. But it's just Garrett Wilson's a superstar. I kind of missed on him. I missed on him a little bit. I should have been higher on him. It's not like I had him super low in my ranks. I had him fourth, but I should have known better. I probably just didn't like the fact that Trash Man liked him so much, so I just kind of had to fade him just because I was being a dick. But it's just what it is, sometimes. And I think Wilson has one of those monster games where he has a chance to get in the box twice, to be honest.
Love it. Okay, we're getting a ton of questions in the chat here, Brendan.
All right,
let's talk about Mark. So he's got a first question. Are you starting Aaron Rodgers going up against Chicago, which he owns Chicago? Don't forget about this. Or are you playing Mike White? This one's tough because Aaron Rodgers, he's had one performance all season. And I think it was like QB 10, right? So, but he's also playing Chicago.
Yeah, they suck.
And again, he owns Chicago, so he could easily throw.
I'm good with that. I'm good with Rodgers over Mike White. That's fine.
Yeah,
I think it's close.
It's close. This one's super close, Mark. I just because of the fact that Aaron Jones is healthy, Christian Watson's healthy, Allen Lazard's healthy. They've got a full complement of players coming into this game. And again, they're so good against Chicago, and Chicago's defense is hot trash. We saw Mike White last week put up points against Chicago, right?
They're so bad.
This one is one where I'm going to defer to Aaron Rodgers. I love playing Mike White whenever I can, but this one you got to go with Aaron Rodgers. And then which RB2? I think so. You just need one. Oh no, sorry.
It needs 2 out of 3.
So Dameon Pierce, who's got a sick matchup going up against Cleveland. I'm assuming that this is Jeff Wilson. That one's a tough one, and Rashad White, but
Lenny's gonna be playing, so I'm gonna go with Pierce and probably Wilson.
I would probably lean Wilson too. He looks good, man.
He does.
Raheem Mostert's supposed to play as well, but
he's still banged up.
Yeah, he's still a bit banged up. I agree. I'm leaning Wilson and Pierce on this one. Good luck, brother. Okay, we got another one from Bali. He needs a flex. Drake London, I like the matchup there. Zay Jones or Kareem Hunt. Listen, if Zay is healthy, I think I'm playing Zay in this matchup, man.
Zay, you're talking about Zay all morning.
I like Zay this week. Well, because we're getting questions. He just had
I know. No. Even before the show, we were talking about it. Because I pointed out Marvin Jones' matchup, and you almost threw up. So, I mean, you said Zay Jones. So I'm going with you, Zay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I like obviously Drake London, but he's getting like 5 targets a game.
Dude, Marcus Mariota sucks so bad.
Sucks so bad. Yeah, go with Zay Jones on this one,
dude.
Brother.
There's no yak ability. Drake London was known for yak, right? In college. The ball placement by Mariota has fucking Drake London falling to the ground immediately because he has to adjust to bad throws. Once this guy gets a decent quarterback that he can get on the run with, explosion with volume, with production. I guarantee that's coming.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Where would you, just a high level, where are you viewing Drake London in Dynasty right now in terms of wide receivers? Like, is he, without naming every single player, he's probably right around that wide receiver 12, 13, right?
Yeah, I have him. I probably have him at like 14, 15.
Yeah.
That's where immediately where my head went right there was 14, 15, somewhere around there.
So you're a USC guy. Oh, you love your USC. Anecdotally, I heard this question on another podcast. Amon-Ra St. Brown or Drake London in Dynasty?
Amon-Ra.
That's the right answer. All right.
It's not even close to me.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Love it. We got Mark coming in here hot with an interesting question. He's got T. Higgins versus Kansas City. You're starting T always. Amari Cooper versus Houston. Definitely. Or Christian Watson versus the Bears. I think you got to go T. You got to go Amari, man.
Yep.
So what's interesting is that Deshaun Watson's coming back this week, Brandon. And yes, there's been some shows that have talked about it. But nobody's talking about it. As much media coverage as I would have expected. I think that's by design. I think the NFL is basically saying, do not bring attention to this. Let's not resurface this old bullshit. But listen, Houston kind of sucks, right?
Dude,
Mark Cooper's a dog.
Derek Stingley's pretty damn good, though. That rookie corner is damn good. But we're talking about a technician route runner in Amari Cooper that's been in this league for a long time. So he's going to make his plays. He's got a top 7 quarterback in the league right now, throwing the ball to him. And you got a motivated Watson going back, playing against his old team, dude. I can see Watson going off for like 300 yards and 3 tuds. Like this guy is got some pent up aggression, and I could totally like, and he's not getting his massages anymore. So like he's got to
release the tension somehow.
He's got to release the tension. And I just feel this guy is going to go absolutely nuclear. And honestly, that's a guy that I might play in some DFS plays this week because nobody's talking about him. The guy is uber talented, and he's got a legit wide receiver 1 with him in Amari Cooper. So
David and
I'm okay with it.
David and
I got it.
Out.
Feed Amari.
Amari Cooper on the season is the number 8 wide receiver in PPR.
I know, and nobody talks about it.
8, and nobody's talking about him. He has had 1, 2, 3, 4 games with 12 targets. He's had 1 game with 11 targets, and he's had 1 game with 10 targets.
That's the stack, guys. Go do that stack, and then you can fill out the rest of your lineup. And I think that's a sneaky play for DFS players.
Yes. Okay, Nick, we're going to come back hot after, but Brandon, give me your second flex play on the week, baby.
We're going to talk about this guy, David Montgomery of the Bears. I think he is going to be he's going to be leaned on a little bit more than usual with Justin Fields coming back from this AC separation that he had. I've had that exact injury, okay? It takes about 6 to 7 weeks to feel normal after that kind of injury. He is going to be feeling it this week, still playing with it, unless he probably will get the shot, but he will be feeling it. It will be in his head. And the coaches would be stupid to run him the same way they were doing it prior to this injury. So I feel like they're going to give David Montgomery everything he can handle this week. And honestly, Green Bay's they're not that great of a team right now. Like they really aren't. You can make plays against them. And David Montgomery, he's got no competition for touches right now. None. Absolutely zero. So he is going to get every bit of the work, and he's going to get in the box. Even if it's low efficiency, he's going to get in the box for you this week.
I got nothing else to add other than the fact that it's the 24th best matchup tool. When you look at just our projections in DK, which is full PPR with the bonuses, it's 15.24 points. When you look at DK, which is half point PPR, it's 13.28. I like Dave Montgomery this week, man. It's great. And to your point, I mean, his only competition in the running game is Justin Fields, but
they're not going to run him. I'm telling you.
No injury. They're going to pull him back a little bit. So this could be a bit of a trap game for Justin Fields. Listen, it's funny. I've got a league where I've got Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson as my 2 starting quarterbacks, and I need to win this week to make the playoffs.
Go Jackson.
I think I got to win out. So no, I've got both. It's a super flex. I don't play no single quarterbacks. Please come on now, Brandon. Come on, bro.
Dude, I'm
just saying.
I got it.
It's killer, man. I could end up with like 70 points combined between these 2 quarterbacks, or could end up with like 25.
It's true.
It's true. It's going to be painful. I love it.
It's true.
Okay, we got Nick coming in with a question here. It's start to non-PPR. Nick, go to your league and baby steps.
God, I hate
in the offseason. Ask for a half PPR type.
It's league. That's a good compromise.
Push it. It's a good compromise. Some of these old dinosaurs. Maybe you're the dinosaur, Nick.
Maybe you are.
I'm insulting these people who are giving us some time. Oh man, this is we appreciate you, Nick. But to start 2 non-PPR, you got Dameon Pierce Alvin Kamara going up against the Bucks, who the Bucks have not been good against the run this season, but again, it's a non-PPR.
Jimmy Kamara.
And Cordero Patterson. So who you got? 2.
I like. God dang it. Kamara is 100% in. He's gonna actually catch fire towards the end of this year here, and then I like Pierce a lot, but he's been underwhelming. Patterson has a great matchup against the Steelers. Steelers can't stop anything. Patterson's at home, so I'm going Patterson.
So I agree with you on Patterson. To me, it's really Alvin Kamara has been so underwhelming in standard leagues because without the passing, he's the number 24 running back on the season. And to me, that's just he's missed some games. I get it, but the Saints in general have been so underwhelming. Whereas Patterson's number 29. Man,
they're all about the same.
They're all about the same, man. Listen, I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. Okay. I think I'm gonna go Pearson Kamara. I'm gonna go Pearson Kamara on this one. So we both agree with Kamara. The talent's just there.
Yeah, you got to do it.
It's a Monday nighter, I believe, right? That game.
I don't know.
Checking. Yeah, it's a Monday nighter going up against that. They're in Tampa, the 40-point over under. I mean, you got to play Kamara because of the stud factor there. But
Pierce, I get it. Yeah,
I think I'm starting Pierce over Patterson, man. It's such a good matchup, and the way that you're going to beat Cleveland's on the ground, just like the way that
he gets all the work. He gets all the work.
Yeah.
So
okay,
I get it.
So a little bit disagreement there. Start Kamara. I'm leaning Pierce. Brandon's leaning Patterson. We'll have to defer to you on that tiebreaker, brother. Okay, before we get to some of these other questions here, because damn, it's coming in hot, baby. I love it.
Good.
You can tell it's do or die season, Brandon, when we start getting all these start-sit questions, right? But
yeah,
I got to talk about one of my favorite plays on this week. And guess what? It's a Philadelphia Eagle going up against Tennessee, and his name is not AJ Brown. I love Devonta Smith this week going up against Tennessee. I think it's the magic trick, right? If you look over here when I'm actually doing something over here, and all the attention, all the media attention is going to go on AJ Brown and even Treylon Burks, right? Because that narrative, can Treylon Burks replace AJ Brown in terms of production?
Yeah.
The identity of the Philadelphia Eagles this season and last season is a running game. I get it. That's the thing. But Devonta Smith, man, coming in hot.
Yeah.
He's got the third best matchup right now in terms of the passing. I love the fact that his season, he still has a really solid target share. He's got a 26% target share on the season.
That's great.
And listen, everybody's shitting on the Eagles for not passing the game. They're 18th in the league, which is they're essentially a middling average team with 28 pass attempts per game. And the thing I like about Devonta Smith is he's had these spike weeks where he's gotten a 36% target share. He's gotten close to double-digit targets in certain games. I believe that this is going to be a way that they beat the Titans because the Titans have a very, very stout offensive line. If they want to run the ball, they're just going to be pounding into that offensive line. How are you going to move the ball? It's going to be these 5-6 yard targets. You can see my kid in the background there. These 5-6 yard targets going out to Devonta Smith, and then they're going to let him do something with his wiggle, baby. Devonta Smith is a super athletic player. I love him this week. I think he's going to be very, very sneaky. And if you have him, I'm rocking him in my flex.
I love it. I actually think that's so good, man. It's like sleight of hand magic trick, right? Like everybody's
that's what I was trying to say. The sleight of hand, baby.
Everybody is going to be thinking AJ Brown, and it makes so much sense to go the opposite side. And AJ Brown is a team guy, and I could totally see him just saying, just let me just take all the coverage, and they're going to explode on the other side of the formation. I think you're correct on that thinking. Even though I think AJ Brown will still get in the box, he'll still have a good game. That will be fine, but I think Devonta Smith is just going to have one of those games where he's going to explode for sure. I think you're all over it.
Love it. All right, brother. Let's hammer some of these start-sit questions for the people because we're men of the people. We got Jeff coming in here. He's got Flex 1. Are you ready to make your money for the morning, Brandon?
Yeah.
Josh Palmer. No, I'm not playing Josh Palmer. George Pickens, definitely consideration. Cordero Patterson.
Pickens.
Or Rashad White. I think, man.
It's Pickens.
Okay, so
that's where I'm going. Right? I'm going Pickens. Leonard's back. He's gonna take take that work back. Patterson's still sharing a little bit with Tyler Algier, my boy Tyler Algier. Nobody to have faith in. He's still running the rock
I like
well.
Algier.
Josh Palmer, I mean, he's okay. But Pickens, the return of the dog, I'm telling you, he is gonna go berserk in Georgia.
Yeah,
he's gonna go. He's gonna go berserk.
Austin Eckler had 15 targets last week, dude. 15 targets. Keenan Allen, he's back. He's healthy. Obviously, Mike Williams is not, so that's why Palmer's even in conversation. But no, I think for me, it's probably between George Pickens and Cordell Patterson, assuming it's a full PPR. But I think with Pickens, man, Patterson, as the season goes on, isn't quite as electric as he was at the start of the season. He's old, spoiler alert.
He's 30 something.
I think he's 33, 32.
He's
Pickens
older.
Is going to explode this week, so he can't go wrong with that, man. Okay, we got a Manster 23. Pick one. Swift. I'm assuming that's Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
Donovan Bam Knight. Right now, I'm going Swift. Yeah, I think with this group here, because we chose Swift over Bam Knight earlier in the start to question, and the fact that he does not have an injury designation, we know it's a huge over-under.
Mm-hmm.
Football, you assume that you're going to throw the ball a ton going up against Jacksonville, which just means it's going to be one of these games where DeAndre Swift is going to get 6 receptions, 75 yards, and if he gets in a touchdown, if he gets a box, I totally messed that one up. But if he gets in the box, Brendan, he's going to have a 23, 24-point monster, and you're going to kick yourself for sitting him. So
this guy,
out of this group,
you can't sit a guy that has his potential, man. Like, especially when he's got no injury designation. I mean, I love that the coach up in Detroit, but man, he pisses me off with how he uses his backs. Like he really there's no reason to use Jamal Williams as much as what they're doing. Even I get he's a leader.
He's
in the locker
scoring,
room,
dude.
I got you, but it's because he has the opportunity.
True.
He's getting so much more opportunity than he deserves, to be honest. For that, his talent is telling me he deserves. It's just when you got a guy like Swift that is that explosive, that good, that talented. It's just I don't know. There's something going on behind the scenes where they have something going on with Swift where they're trying to get him to be even when you in Hard Knocks and when you were watching Hard Knocks, they were trying to trying to tell get Swift to believe you are one of the best players on the field, dude. You need to understand that, man. And it just feels like they don't have maybe Swift doesn't believe in himself like that. I don't know. Something's going on.
You know what I think it is? I mean, we could overanalyze this till the cows come home.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I just said that expression.
You're Canadian.
But really what it comes yes, I am. But really what it comes down to, I think, very simply, is a lot of what Jamal Williams is getting is these goal line carries where they're 2 to 3 yards out, right?
Exactly.
And the problem is that DeAndre Swift, Brandon, unfortunately, hasn't been able to stay healthy. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Whereas Jamal Williams, he's a freaking tank, man. And he's scoring. So would you rather risk injuring, getting a foot stepped on in these these really tight box type situations where it's their goal line defense versus our goal line offense? It's going to be just a bunch of freaking bodies flying, and that's how injuries happen. Mm-hmm. Give it to Jamal, who's continuing to prove that he can score on those 2-yard runs. Jamal's not going to really break off these 20, 30-yard runs like DeAndre Swift can, but he can get 2 yards when he needs to get 2 yards, and he's going to get a touchdown.
He's a grinder, man. He's a grind. He's a coach's fave. He's a coach's guy, man. He loves that. They all love that.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta answer a GPP question in draft right now. Now, our mother station, the DFS Army station, they're the pros, but we got Nick Chubb, who's the most expensive or one of the most expensive running backs on the slate, and Josh Palmer, which I don't trust Josh Palmer, or Amon-Ra St. Brown and Kirk. So you get that stack. Man, I feel like Nick Chubb's probably going to be pretty high owned, but at the same time, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Christian Kirk are also going to be quite. Let's actually check some of these.
Look it up. I bet you got the numbers.
Yeah, I got the ownerships here. I just gotta find them. So,
GPP.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down here. I gotta find this matchup. Okay, so Josh Palmer, he has an ownership projection of. Dude, this is fantastic. He's gonna be somewhat low owned. He's gonna be 3% owned on DraftKings. He's got a projection of 12.5 points. That's actually not a bad projection. You scroll up and we check out the Nick Chubb. Oof, he's going to be 9% owned. He's going to be pretty shocking. He's got a 17-point projection on DK. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's go. We got to find this game here. This is a game that I want to attack, man. I love that game. But okay, so Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's got a he's got a projected ownership of 22%. So he's going to be super ass jockey. And Christian Kirk has a projected ownership of 17%. So I mean, it's just pure chalk. Listen, honestly, in GPPs, if it's me in full PPR, I love the idea of stacking Amon-Ra St. Brown and Christian Kirk. Because I just feel like Josh Palmer's not going to pay back. And Nick Chubb will get you 25 points, but Josh Palmer's going to get you 7, 8. Yeah. Because I don't trust Josh Palmer. So if it's my team and I'm building a lineup, probably both those guys. I understand 3 out of the 4 players here are super, super chalky. Yeah. So if you want to beat, 50,000 of your closest friends, it's going to be really hard. You're going to have to differentiate elsewhere. I'm not saying don't. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying is like you could do the Amon-Ra St. Brown Kirk stack, but you got to just do something different, very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the other part of the lineup.
Okay. All right, let's move on here. We got a question from Mark talking about defenses. Bucks defense or the Eagles defense this week? I think, listen, Tennessee doesn't turn the ball over a ton, whereas we know that the Red Rifle likes to throw interceptions a lot. I kind of like the Bucs defense on Monday night here. What about you?
It's I 100% agree with you, dude. Andy Dalton blows, man. He's good for at least 2 turnovers, man. So
yeah
go
absolutely. Bucs. Go Bucs. Okay, so this is a tough one because we got Gerald Everett, who actually has a pretty solid matchup this week, or Juwan Johnson. Again, Juwan Johnson got a big old 0 last week because guess what? I was touting Juwan Johnson, and guess what? I my mouth is, and I started him last week, brother. Yeah, oh god. Listen, Knox got hurt, so that kind of.
I love how Trash Man always asks us for our opinion, and he uses our opinion, and then he gets mad when shit goes wrong. Yeah, but he take responsibility of your lineups, man. I can't stand that. It bothers me.
Here's the thing, though. I trust Gerald Everett a little bit more than I trust Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson's been a stud, but then clearly he can get phased completely out of the game. So I'm probably in Gerald Everett here. He has a pretty solid matchup, and again, Mike Williams is out.
No, Mike Williams. I can't. What's his injury? What is his injury? Is it an ankle? What is it? I forgot. He's been out so long. I forgot.
It was a high ankle sprain. It was a high ankle sprain.
Damn, dude, that must have been a really bad. That shit must have been really bad.
Well, historically, high ankle sprains are bad. They are.
It takes about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. For a high ankle, it's
4.
What it takes.
4 is kind of that common one, but then again, Mike Williams is a little bit older, so it can take longer. Gerald Everett, I just like the fact that he's got the 25th best matchup on the week this week. So it's
Everett,
a pretty good matchup.
I'll go that.
I go with Everett. He's projected 9 PPR points, whereas if I scroll down to Tampa Bay, Juwan Johnson's projected for 6. So, and it's also a good matchup, but I'm going Everett here. Okay, brother, give me your third and final flex plan of the week. Then we'll answer the rest of these questions. Then we're going to get the hell out of here.
The man, the myth, the legend, Mike Dickinson was touting this guy before anybody. Before the season, before the draft, he was touting this guy named Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco has been turning it on the last 3 weeks. He's been getting volume. The last 3 weeks, he's gotten 16, 15, 22 carries. And that's good workload in a KC offense that's always going to be scoring. They're going against Cincy. It's going to be a high-scoring game. He's going to get opportunities in the red zone. He's going to be the goal line back. I like Isaiah Pacheco. I think he could get in the box this week, and he's just getting the workload. I follow the workload. The trend is that he's getting it. So let's ride this train until it falls apart. And that's pretty much until Melvin Gordon comes, until he gets activated off the practice squad. Isaiah Pacheco is going to get all the red zone looks. So that is somebody I am going to be plugging in wherever I got him in a flex spot and being very happy about it because 22 carries is a lot in that offense, man. And so give me all the Pacheco you can.
You know what's funny? Like in previous seasons, is you want that workhorse, you want that workhorse, you want that workhorse in Kansas City, and the risk has always been that Pacheco, I think he has like 3 targets on the freaking season. Like he hasn't
I know.
received a ton of targets. It's all been Jarrett McKinnon, but it's a good matchup. It's a decent over under.
Yep.
I mean,
I think they're gonna have. I think
Yeah.
the game script is gonna be good enough to where Pacheco is not gonna get phased out of the game at all. So like, there's nobody else really. I mean, McKinnon's okay, but he's not getting a bunch of rushes.
No,
He's just
no,
getting
he's not.
some third down work. So I'm
Yes.
good with Pacheco. I think that's a good play.
Yeah. On the other side of the ball, if you have Jamar Chase, you're starting him, right? Assuming he plays.
100, dude. If Jamar Chase is playing, they are gonna use him like normal. They are not gonna activate this guy unless he's right.
I
And
agree.
and if you listen to Jamar Chase in pressers about how he feels, he's like, I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to perform. Nobody can stop me. That's all this guy keeps saying. Like, just listen to the dude.
I don't buy that they're going to play him because they held him out last week when he was close. I don't buy the fact that he's going to be a decoy this week. I think that they were smart.
No.
The Cincinnati Bengals, it's been a bit of an up and down tumultuous season for them, but they still have playoff ambitions and they can still win that division. They've been pretty decent. I mean,
Joe Burrow's been playing
stud,
so good.
No, he's been studly. No, you're right. You're right. He's been a stud. But I'm just saying, like, they have playoff ambitions. They want to go far into playoffs. They're not going to play Jamar Chase if there's a risk of him re-injuring. They held him out last week, which I'm glad they did. Hated it for my fantasy team, but glad they did for football and for the rest of the season.
I think Bengals win.
Ooh, I like that hot take, baby. I like
Bengals win.
Take. Okay, so David Njoku's out. We know this. Bad. I'm not going to say the other one, but BAP. Yes. Okay. Would you chart Dulcich, Greg Dulcich, Harrison Bryant, or Ty Conklin? To me, it's really a question between Dulcich and Conklin, and I'm rolling Dulcich, baby. He's been studly, despite the fact that the Denver Broncos suck ass. I like Greg Dulcich. He's got the
usage. He had a touchdown callback last week again too. He's had a touchdown callback every single game.
Yeah,
like literally.
He gets in the end zone. And I like if you listen to the Flex show, or excuse me, to the Waiver Wire show on Monday night, it's like I talked Ty Conklin up as like, hey, if you need to stream a guy this week, Ty Conklin's your guy. We saw it. He's getting more usage for whatever reason. Zach Wilson didn't like Ty Conklin. We saw like Flacco was great for him because Flacco's always like the tight end. But Mike White, he's okay. But for me, it's Dulcich is the answer here. And let's go one more before I'll give you my flex play. Are you playing old Dak Prescott on the Monday night thriller? Or are you playing Justin Fields? And I think we talked about this. Yeah, I'm going Dak. Dak looks so good right now. And you know what I love? The fact that Tony Pollard, he looks good. He's healthy. Catches the ball. That's points for Dak. Ezekiel Elliott seems to be healthier. The offense is marching. That's good for Dak in general when how offense is healthy. Michael Gallup, who missed a good part of the start of the season because of the ACL.
Starting to come on.
Now a month back, he looks good. Last week, he kind of came out on Thanksgiving. And my boy, oh, Lord, people have not been talking enough about CeeDee Lamb and how good he is. He's a 31% target share on the season. Last week, Brandon, 37.93% of the target share, Mr. CeeDee Lamb. So just the fact that Dak has so many studs, he's healthy. Like, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Remember that bet that Clipboard Jesus and I had that he was telling me Michael Gallup, when healthy, is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Dallas Cowboys, and I told him he's absolutely insane. And CeeDee Lamb is a dog. There's a reason why everybody was touting him. He looks so much better this year than he did last year. Like he looks like he put his man strength on, like he put some weight on. He looks unstoppable when he has the ball in his hands, man. He's a fun guy to watch. I like him a lot.
We were saying he's young DeAndre Hopkins, and that's what
he really is. But he's faster.
He's faster. I dare I say he could have a better career than DeAndre Hopkins. Now that's tough to say because Hopkins never had a quarterback, whereas Lamb does have a quarterback. But
hey, Kyler's
okay. Now he does. Yeah, now he does. But I'm saying forever he didn't. I'm leaning Dak here too. And the reason for this is because Green Bay, for whatever reason, has their number on Chicago. And Brandon and I both agree that the Chicago Bears would be smart. Now, rational coaching isn't always a thing.
Rational.
Okay.
Be rational.
If they're rational and if they're smart, they're not going to push their young ascending quarterback to rush as much as he's been all season, especially when it's a shoulder injury. And that's really easy to re-injure if you drop your shoulder and initiate contact. So I like Dak Prescott going up against.
See, I'm telling you, those AC separations suck. They are not a fun. Dude, I'm 4 years after mine, and my shoulder still is grimy and cracking and popping all the time.
I mean, you're old as F, just like me.
It's just what it is, man. Like that injury fucks you, man. Like
exactly.
It's so bad.
I can see that. Okay, I got one last flex play on the week, and then we'll talk about our honorable mentions. We're at 50 minutes. We've had a lot of engagement today, so thank you so much for everybody who's.
I'm happy. That's great.
A lot of fun. This is what we're here. We like talking football, but my favorite part of doing these shows, Brandon, and I think you'd agree, is just interacting with the people. That's why we do it. It's just fun. We love getting you on. So we're going to be here for the rest of the season, helping you out as we make playoff runs. But my final play of the week, going up against Cleveland, because I think Houston's going to give them a bit more of a run for their money than you might initially think. I like Nico Collins this week going up against Cleveland.
That's a good call.
I'm actually surprised, like we said, this game hasn't been discussed a little bit more. All the attention, Brandon, is going to be on the run game. You got to start Dameon Pierce because Cleveland sucks against the run. You got to start Nick Chubb because they suck against the run. Brandon Cooks is out. He has been ruled out. So it's going to be Nico Collins, who is starting to ascend. Last 3 weeks, Brandon, his targets, 10 targets, 7 targets, 9 targets. The only problem is he's only gotten to the box once in the last 3 weeks, and he hasn't eclipsed more than 50 yards. So that could be a risk. So this is what deeper flex play. But I like Nico Collins this week. If you're saying, say you're looking at a 12-person league and it's start 2 flexes, as that second flex or even, more competitive league, I like Nico Collins. I think you can actually trust him this week. And it's going to be a breakout game for this kid, man.
I've been a Nico Collins fan forever. Like I've liked it. I liked him coming out of college. I think you're right. I can't wait for Houston to actually get a quarterback in the draft next year and actually ignite this offense around Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is an absolute dog. I love watching him. He's one of my favorite players. I traded him out. I traded him when he was super hot, which I'm super excited I did that.
I got a question for you. Dynasty, okay?
Sure.
Do you like Dameon Pierce or Rachaad White for the next 2 years in Dynasty? It's closer though, right? Because start of the season, it was looking like definitively Dameon Pierce. Last few weeks, Rachaad White's starting to come on. He's learning the game. Rachaad White's older. I think he's 23, maybe 24 by the end of the season.
I'm going Pierce, but honestly, the way the NFL is these days, they're going to draft somebody else to help him out because the beating this guy this guy breaks more tackles than anybody in the league, and it's gonna affect him. So. That's probably why he doesn't have as much juice in those legs right now as he did earlier in the season. Because just taking those hits, man, it's hard. So don't freak out if they take somebody to help him out. So just don't freak out about it. People will freak out when that happens.
People always freak out. People
will freak out.
Okay, let's hammer out some of these just notables. Listen, okay, so Zonovan Knight, I think he's a fine DFS play because of the price, but Zonovan Knight he's a flex play this week. He's not a locked and loaded starter because the matchup is challenging, but I like him this week. Some tight end streamers, plug in those real quick here, Brandon. I like Logan Thomas, going up against the Giants. It's the 27th best matchup. Evan Ingram going up against the Jags, 28th best matchup. Tyler Higbee, if you're brave, against Seattle, it's the 30th best matchup. And of course, Wolford's starting, so that is worrisome.
And Conklin's got a revenge game too. He's playing his old team.
Yeah, Ty Conklin's got the revenge game. Brian Robinson. You talked about him.
There we go.
Players. He's definitely, if you have him, you got to start him. Antonio Gibson's dealing with the foot issue, which is a bit of an issue, a worry.
Yeah, it's an issue.
And listen, this is it, man. Like, just go and have some fun. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at DFS Army. Hit me up at Flex Network 1. Brandon, still in Twitter jail, but
still
maybe
banned. Dude, I'll have to make another account or something. Like, it's just what I'm gonna have to do. It's fine. It's fine. I'll have to calm down a little bit on Twitter and
just chill. It's just for fun, man. It's just for fun,
dude. Elon Musk has hysterical on Twitter right now. Like
Yeah.
he cracks me up a lot when I'm watching him talk about it. Like he's pissing people off. It's pretty great.
He's not afraid of nobody.
No.
DFS Army, dfsarmy.com. There's some links down below /try.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that most of our followers are still in the playoff contention, but the reality of fantasy football,
Damn right.
some of you might not be. Okay. That's why the DFS game is here. We're here printing money. I say that we've had multiple $1 million winners in the Millie Maker. Week 1 this week, we took down the Millie Maker. Last week, we had a number 2 finish. $100,000 they won. So we have people that are cashing real money. And the thing is that like for people who just dabble, like I just dabble in DFS. What I like to do is I like to listen to just some of the strategy, contest selection.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're going to really make money, right? And
how
build
it's
up
done.
that bankroll so that you can put multiple. Because listen, that Millie Maker, it's you need to put multiple lineups to have a shot at it, right? Otherwise, it's just a scratch off lottery ticket. But if there's a real process, you got to build that bankroll up first, and you do that by contest selection, smaller contests, and that's what we're here for, man. DFSarmy.com. Check it out.
My one big rule how I play DFS is I would rather pay more in my entry fee and play against less people.
Yeah.
Those $50 500 person tournaments are like the sweet spot, man, because you could beat those guys, and then it's like just you got to build your bankroll up. But once you get to a certain stage and you're entering those $50, $25 games, that's where the sweet spot is to win these things and make decent.
Yeah. I actually took down a contest last week. It was only 100 people and I only won like $25. It was a $1 entry, but hey, man, I still finished first. If you ain't first, you're last, brother.
I know.
All right. Okay. DFSarmy.com. Good luck in week 13. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get out of here, Brandon.
Big time. Knowing that.